Greg had an amazing quote today on Twitter. He said the most unstoppable person on the planet right now is someone who knows how to create videos that the algorithm loves, and someone who knows the new LLM tools like Claude, V0, and Cursor. Let's go to the board. So what Greg is talking about in this tweet is the creator composer. I have done this for the last 4 years. I've been creating content for the last 2 years, but I've been working and studying content for the last 4 years. This is what I've gotten really good at. I've gotten good at explaining my ideas across a lot of platforms, mostly TikTok and Instagram. On TikTok and Instagram combined, I almost have 1 million followers. And I've been making content consistently, learning what makes good content. This is my area of expertise. And I am learning this because this heavily leverages this. What composing is using the language. So composing is using the most important language to understand. The most important language you have to learn. And that language is, you need to know English. You need to be able to take an idea in your head and explain it to an AI model so that the tools that we're going to talk about today make that app for you. So Greg brought up 3 tools. He brought up V0, which in later videos I'm going to be diving much deeper into, and I already have. You can go back and watch my last videos. This is the stack that I use. V0, and then you have Cursor, Replit, and then I'm going to add one at the end, which is Firebase. This is just a database tool. Every time I want to make an app, I use V0 to design the site. I design it on V0. You just type in English and it designs your site for you just like that. Cursor. Cursor allows you to generate and edit many code files. So like many code files in one prompt. And that is actually called Composer. Composer is a feature on Cursor. It is the best software feature I've ever used. So after you generate the code, you're like, okay, well, you have the code. What do you do with it? 4 months ago, I didn't know the answer to that. The eye-opener moment was when Amar Reshi, shout out Amar if you're watching this video, he works at 11 Labs, he created this little app in Claude Artifacts, which is a lot like V0, but V0 is just a little bit better right now at designing. And he took the code and pasted it into Replit. And I was like, what is that? And he's just like, run, deploy. And it deployed the site in like 7 seconds. Deploying is actually much harder than it looks, but Replit makes it easier. So this is like putting it on the internet. So deploy, like putting it on the web. This is for web apps. If you generate the code, you can sync Cursor and Replit. It's very likely that Cursor adds in the ability that Replit has to deploy it, and it's very likely that Replit adds the Cursor ability. Right now, they both don't do the other one. Replit has an agent feature, not nearly as good as Cursor, and you can only really use Python. But they're both really good in their own way because Replit makes it really easy to save your code. It has a really good history feature, so it's very easy to revert your code back to a certain point. And it's also really good at deploying, sharing, and creating templates. We've actually created a template that allows you to take your V0 code and build a full app. And it already has like 6,000 people have used this to build an app, which is awesome. Finally, you need a database. And we've actually built the database into the template. And this template's free. I'm not telling you shit right now. But like, we've built it into the plumbing. So you're just going to say, I want to create an app that has social media features, or I want to build a social media app for penguins or something. And it will create it and create the database. If you use Twitter and you type out a tweet and attach a photo, that photo and that text that you typed into that post, it needs to go somewhere. That is why I'm including this. But this is these are the tools that you should focus on if you want to learn this side, right? Many people have been making software for the last 10 years. And many of them have failed. They were not able to get users. A lot of them got angry because people who made worse apps than them got a ton of users. It's mostly because if you're good at writing software, you have a very technical brain and you're not always great at storytelling, which is going to be the most important thing that you can do. I think of this as it's going to be an extension. The same way that like you upload a bio, you have a bio, right? You have your header image on all of your different platforms, you have text posts, and it all contributes to your social media presence. But I believe that software is going to get so easy and fun to make that it's just going to be an extension of your content. And so it's just going to get more fun to create software. And so that's why I think learning now and learning different APIs, I honestly couldn't even tell you what API stands for. But I do know that if you look up Grok with a Q at the end, you can basically copy that information and look at the list of models. They have a speech to text model, which allows you to build in features like the one I'm using voice to text right now. What do you think? It had to use a model to do that, right? If I spent 3 hours trying to build this exact interface, I would not get as good. Perplexity has insanely good design, but I would get somewhat close. This is a really cool app, but I would actually get somewhat close if I tried to build this exact interface. It's just really hard to compete with them because they have millions of users. And one thing Perplexity did very well, they were very good at sticking to brand discipline and saying, we're the knowledge engine. They could have gone on so many different tangents and created other features, but they focused on providing people with answers and added features that only contributed to that story. They haven't hired traditional marketing people. Perplexity has only hired designers. And you end up with a product that is just so artistic and so expressive that it does a lot of this itself. The software itself creates content for them because it's such a beautiful product. But anyway, it's about building an audience, and you want to build an audience of people through attention. And I think the best way to do that right now, and I'm trying this out, this is my new strategy. This was not my strategy at the beginning, but I'm trying out this new strategy that is easily the most fun, and it's called Learn in Public. And so what Learn in Public is, it's a kind of a variation of Build in Public. It's where you pick a new thing that you want to learn, and then you just learn it and make videos every time you get a little bit better. Be like, yeah, I learned about this today. Today I just created X using this new thing. If you pick something like composing, which is creating apps with AI, no one's talking about it because it's a brand new possibility. 1 year ago, this was hardly possible. It was very, very difficult, but now it's getting easier. And so if you're riding the edges and you're pushing out into the unknown and you're making content on new things, you're going to be more valuable because everyone else is in school. And they're like, that wasn't even an option for me on my syllabus. But you can just do that and you can learn something and then you can make content on it and then you can make products that help people move faster along from it, or you can just build products for whatever else you're doing. And so I think that if you're in both of these camps, creator, composer, you can actually make content you can make apps that incorporate AI features into their content. And that was actually the first app that we're testing is going to be voice powered. It's not going to be Perplexity in the sense that it gives you answers. It's going to actually use voice to extract the ideas and turn them into good content. And that's the premise of our first app. Basically, be asked questions about what content you want to create, and it's going to take you down a verbal path and prompt you with ideas, and you're going to get all of your ideas out into an idea thread, and then you're going to be able to convert that thread of ideas into something polished and consistent. You can go anywhere you want, speak your ideas, and it will do all the structure for you. And so that's the app that we're building. In my last video, you can see that. I used these tools to pitch Anj and Kihan, my team, on this app idea that had all the features built in, and I'm going to go over all of these tools in future videos. And I'm going to show you everything about using these tools to create apps and then building an audience and sharing that story so that you can get people to buy your stuff. I think that this economy is going to be dominated by the creator-composer. This is vlog number 1. I'm going to be diving into the tool that we're building specifically in the next video. Subscribe or I'll be in worse shape than if you didn't subscribe. I don't know how to end these.